Okay, so let's just settle into our meditation posture. So if you are sitting at a desk, which some of us are, have your feet down on the ground without your legs being crossed, and they're in parallel. And so your feet are on top of like a little, you can have them on top of a little cushion. And a couple of cushions under your knees. Your sits bones are raised, and have them on something quite firm. Shoulders are aligned with your hips. And imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light. And of course, your hands in the meditation mudra. But, you know, honestly, for our purposes, such a short meditation, if you feel more comfortable with your hands just resting on your knees, or your palms up towards the ceiling with the back of your hands on your knees, or however you are used to meditating, you can, for you know, such a short meditation, you put your hands where you're comfortable. I'm just teaching you the way they teach it in the Lamrim. And your head is, the top of your head is reaching towards the stars. Head is slightly tipped forward, and the eyes are down, looking along the length of the nose. And if your eyes were open, you'd be looking at a spot about 2 inches ahead. Tip of the tongue is on the roof of the mouth. And relax the jaw. Let's bring your attention to the top of your head, to the scalp, and just relax. Relax your forehead, your eyes, your nose, your cheeks, that area around your mouth. You can have your, just relax your lips as well. Oh, we hold a huge amount of tension in our face, around our jaw. And particularly if our head is slightly sticking forward, that creates even more tension around the back of the neck. So before we get there, just relax the back of the head, the ears, the temples, the inner ear, the jaw, back of the tongue. Just release any tension in the back of the neck and the shoulders, the shoulder blades, the throat, the chest, the belly, the limbs, hands, fingers, and feet and toes. And bring your mind to the breath, noticing the sensation of the air. Hi, Vanessa and Manuel. Nice to see you both. Notice the sensation of the air as you're inhaling is slightly cooler than the air you're exhaling. If there are any sounds in your environment, maybe you have pets in your house, people in your house. Maybe you can hear emergency vehicles outside. Just allow those sounds to be there. And you can also notice what it is that's attracting your mind to those sounds. What's distracting you? And then allow the sound, if you can, to fade as you refocus on your breath. And notice your thoughts. And maybe try and put some space in between your thoughts. Take a deep breath. And just allow the thoughts to arise and to abide and to just flow on without engaging. So as I've been saying from Mingyur Rinpoche, as you put yourself on the riverbank And just watch the river flow by. And as long as you are sitting on the riverbank, you're not in the river, you are free from the river. It's the same with our thoughts. So let's bring to mind all the people of our life. So our loved ones, our beloveds, spouses, children, friends, our besties, those people that support us when we need it. And then those people that you have a little bit of difficulty with. And then those are strangers, the ones that you know, in the supermarket, at the pharmacy, in line, in the traffic. What's amazing is we may only ever see them once in our whole life. And also, we may see them once and then they might become our best friend. We maybe even marry them. We just never know. And at any point in our life, the friend, the enemy, and the stranger could change place. It's always good to remember that. So they are all deserving of our equal concern. And why is that? Because just like us, they all want to be happy and are constantly looking for happiness and constantly avoiding suffering and running into it. And they all have this, just like us, have this capacity for this enlightened mind. So I think we'll do this meditation this evening for all these people of our life and by extension all sentient beings. And let's just think about right now all those children and their parents and the parents of the person who shot all those children and teachers. Think about the people in Ukraine. Motivate for the people involved with the fires. And for our dear Vajrasattva participants, one is in hospital and one's suffering from a leg injury. So just keep all these people in our mind. Hope everyone gets better. So just remember there is no negativity that cannot be purified. And the purification process is basically a psychological one. So we create negativity with our mind. So doing this practice to create positivity with our mind. So first of the four opponent powers is the power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all past lives, and think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. We experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. And having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And given that we understand what suffering is all about, that we don't want any more of it, makes logic sense that it makes sense logically that we will pull out these seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. I mean, just like the time to pull out the weeds in the garden is kind of spring, because that's when the soil is still loose. So we do try to get a hold of these weeds, these seeds, before they become weeds and before they become pretty established. And we can't kind of pull them out easily. So we think about this purification practice in a similar kind of a way and think, I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And we also regret any anger and attachment and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others, and think, I'm sick of this suffering. And who can I turn to? What can I do about it? So here we come to the power of reliance. So we turn to the Buddha, who is like a doctor to us, who has the methods that we can use to purify, to heal ourselves. And it's not that we need the Buddha to forgive us. We purify ourselves by relying upon his methods. That's how we heal ourselves. So imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. And you can also think this is the mind of your teacher, your guru, manifesting in this aspect for your benefit. And he's made of radiant, blissful white light and sitting cross-legged on a white lotus. And this lotus, although born out of mud, is untainted by that mud. It's the same as our enlightened potential, born out of our delusions, but yet untainted by them. So he has this radiant, beautiful face. His eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and for all the people of your life. He's really pleased to see you, so happy. He has no judgmental thoughts towards you. However you've turned up this evening, this is perfectly fine. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom. The right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion, and their being crossed represents the union of these two, which symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings, so the very beings we have harmed and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. And think particularly of maybe someone you've harmed recently and someone who's harmed you. And think for the person that's harmed you, we have compassion for them because they are going to experience suffering sometime in the future because of the harm they've caused you. So have compassion for them for that. And make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for their sake. I must purify for their sake. And so now we come to the power of the remedy, and this is the medicine really. Doing the practice of purification, which includes visualization of light and nectar and recitation of the mantra. So Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, very strongly, quite forcefully from his heart. And it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you have ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mempeyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mempeyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mempeyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mempeyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramame mutta vajrabala mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramame mutta vajrabala mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sutta me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramame mutta vajrabala mahasamaya sattva aham pe. So just be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think there is no way you could do anything other than benefit others now with your body. The next is a purification of the speech. And Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra. This just kind of arcs around and pours into you through the crown of your head, filling your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of the body all the negativity of your speech, kind of like junk. And this overflows quite powerfully and disappears into space. And it's just like you can imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and useless speech and lying, talking badly about others behind their backs, being divisive. And all this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you, overflowing as we recite the mantra. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramame mutta vajrabala mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramame mutta vajrabala mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramame mutta vajrabala mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramame mutta vajrabala mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramame mutta vajrabala mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramame mutta vajrabala mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramame mutta vajrabala mahasamaya sattva aham pe. Again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. And the next is a purification of the mind, and Vajrasattva now very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So it's just the same as when we walk into a pitch black room and we switch on a light, that light instantly dispels the darkness. So it's the same here. You can imagine that when the light from Vajrasattva's heart touches your heart, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind So all your depression and all your fear and all your anger and attachment and grasping and neediness, resentment, jealousy, bitterness, all this instantly dispelled by this light and the mantra recitation. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawasiti mempiyatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramame mutta vajrabhava mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta me bawa sawasini mimpi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramame mutta vajrabhava mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida me bawa sutokaya me bawa supokaya me bawa Anarakta me bawa sawasiti mimpi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramame mutta vajrabhava mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida me bawa sutokaya me bawa supokaya me bawa anarakta me bawa sawasiti mimpi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramame mutta vajrabhava mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida me bawa sutokaya me bawa supokaya me bawa anarakta me bawa sawasiti mimpi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramame mutta vajrabhava mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida me bawa sutokaya me bawa supokaya me bawa anarakta me bawa sawasiti mimpi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramame mutta vajrabhava mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida me bawa sutokaya me bawa supokaya me bawa anarakta me bawa sawasiti mimpi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramame mutta vajrabhava mahasamaya sattva aham pe So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are totally purified. And think there is no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So the next is the purification of the imprints of negativity of the body, speech and mind. So if you like, you can recite a couple of mantras each, or one or two mantras each, for the visualization that we've just done of the body, of the speech and of the mind. Or you can imagine light and nectar pouring into you from Vajrasattva's heart, filling you completely, and just imagine completely wiping out, completely eradicating even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your mind as you recite the mantra. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida me bawa sutokaya me bawa supokaya me bawa anarakta me bawa sawasiti mimpi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramame mutta vajrabhava mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida me bawa sutokaya me bawa supokaya me bawa anarakta me bawa sawasiti mimpi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramame mutta vajrabhava mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida me bawa sutokaya me bawa supokaya me bawa anarakta me bawa sawasiti mimpi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramame mutta vajrabhava mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida me bawa sutokaya me bawa supokaya me bawa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita duda meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe. Now feel completely purified. Not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to omniscience have been removed. So the next is the power of resolve, and this is the fourth step, the final step in the purification process for tonight anyway, and it's a really crucial step. First of all, I would just suggest everybody pat yourselves on the back and rejoice for any efforts you've been making to modify any kinds of behaviors or thoughts that are harmful to yourself or others. And then just revisit something to work on over the weekend, whether it be for 30 seconds or a minute or 5 minutes or just overnight while you're sleeping. Something to do with your speech. So just think of something particularly that maybe you're ruminating too much about something. Because this aspiration, this determination to not harm, again, it's one of the 3 moralities we were talking about last night. This is what gives us the courage to want to change. We just make a decision to do something. So Vajrasattva is very pleased, delighted with us, and wanting to merge with your mind, melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown. And think, my Guru's body, speech and mind, and Vajrasattva's body, speech and mind, and my own body, speech and mind are the same thing. LAMA YESHE used to call this union oneness. So next, as Rinpoche recommends, meditate on the emptiness of the 3 circles. In emptiness there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. And there is no negative karma created. And at whatever level you understand emptiness, place your mind there for a little while. So you could think of perhaps all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. You can also think perhaps that the way things are appearing to me may not necessarily be the way they actually are existing. And we know an example just on an ordinary everyday level when we misread an email or a text. It happens all the time, misunderstandings. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this purification to all living beings, thinking, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. And for His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, to the incomparably kind Tenzin Gyatso I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. And for Lama Zopa Rinpoche, O Tup Shu Chang Jin Jam Gon Galloway, Tenzin Kyong Pelway Kunzo Dog Porze, Chog Sum Kuraway Leg Mon Tu Drub, Padag Sog Duje Gondu Shab Ten Chog. And for LAMA YESHE, Venerable One, to you whose kindness exceeds that of all the conquerors, for those wanderers in far-off places, especially the West, mindful of your loving concern for us and intentionally descending again into a family of a far distant land, we make this request. O Lama, please live long. And for Geshe Share, a beloved teacher leading your students toward wisdom and compassion, explaining through exacting discernment the steps of the graduated path. You are the unequal guide. Please live a long and stable life. There's Lorraine, home again.